Hello, dear students. This is our course of World Literature, and today will be a continuation of the lecture entitled A Sample of Critical Analysis of the Anglophone Indian Novel. This is the second part of the lecture. I am Dr. Maha Sallam. This lecture is a continuation of the discussion of an academic paper entitled Betrayal, Division, and the Ideology of Revolution in Arundhati Roy's The God of Small Things, 1997, and Neel Mukherjee's The Lives of Others, 2014. In the previous video, we have already discussed the thesis statement offered by the paper, which briefly states that the two novels, they are prestigious novels. One of them is a winner of the Man Booker Prize, and the other was shortlisted for the same prize. And the two novels are narratives of the nation. They depict in a technique of social realism the reality of the Indian nation, and they try to offer answers with the question of what is India and what is Indian, and both are greatly influenced by the All India Progressive Writers Association, this organization that was established formally in 1933, and although it was formally dissolved in 1939, yet it has exerted a great influence on Anglophone Indian novels. We spoke about the thesis statement, and today we will discuss briefly the plots, the major themes, and we will reach a conclusion. Of course, you have the PDFs of the paper, and you can refer to this in order to know further details. The India represented by the two novels actually is a composite world. It's a world that, bears the heavy weight of history since times immemorial, and it's a world that does not only reflect and depict historical India as well as contemporary India, but also different landscapes, rural landscapes, urban centers, as well as uncharted places that seem to be off the map, at least off the map of social progression and political progression, such as the river in The God of Small Things and the forest where the scheduled tribes of the lives of others inhabit in a state of dispossession and oppression. The Indians who dwell and interact within the textual worlds of the two novels are the peoples of the state of Kerala, in the case of God of Small Things, and the peoples of Calcutta and the surrounding countryside of the states of West Bengal, Medinipur, Orissa, and Bihar in Lives of Others. These people are far from being homogeneous. The Keralis and the Bengalis of the novels are sharply divided. They are divided by several elements. They are divided by class and caste. They are divided by gender. And most importantly, they are divided by religion, which is a major identity marker that overshadows other cultural distinctions in the two novels. Betrayal and division are images that have marked the private lives of the novel's characters as well as the political public arena of the nation. If we talk about the time focus, the temporal focus, or the time setting of both narratives, it is the late 60s and the early 70s. And as you remember from our lectures on the political background of the Anglophone Indian novel, this was a time of political turbulence after the death of Nehru and during the reign of Indira Gandhi, and immediately preceding the period known as the emergency of 1975-1977. This period actually is seen as a powerful symbol of the betrayals of the post-independence era. The idea of India represented by the two novels, is informed by the fear of the abortion of the nationalistic dream embraced by the modern nation's founding fathers, and of course by the founding fathers of modern India, we mean Nehru and Gandhi. So the two novels seem to be informed by the abortion of this dream. It was a dream towards the construction of a secular, unified nation beyond the divisive claims of religion, caste, community, or even region. Arguably, the two novels belong to that endless stream of nations Roman, the novels of the nation, which, according to Joshi, was a stream of Anglophone Indian novels inaugurated by Salman Rushdie's Midnight Children, and actually it is a stream that seems to be more elegiac over the nation than celebratory of the nation. These novels, according to the critic Joshi, they formulate or expose what Timothy Brennan has called a collective myth of the nation, not at the moment of birth when it was the glorious victor of a liberation struggle, but in its unglamorous middle age riddled by several diseases or maladies. The action of both novels begins in medias res. It doesn't begin chronologically with the birth of the hero or whatever, but it begins in the middle of very turbulent action, and you can read the details about this action in the slides you have. Again, remember that Gandhi's political vision was depicted in his book Hind Swaraj, and Nehru's vision was depicted in his book The Discovery of India, and that both books are highly informative when we come to an analysis of the plots of Roy's and Mukherjee's novels. The major themes of both novels, we seem to have this major theme of revolution with a capital R, okay? We also have a theme about corruption and how corruption is a major reason for the failure of the nationalistic dream. And there is also a theme that highlights the role played by the middle classes. The middle classes can be either the destroyer or the savior of the nation. If they are corrupt and if they engage in the divisive or in the fanaticism that was the divisions and the fanaticism that was rampant during the times of the emergency, then the middle class can be a destroyer. But if they try to rise above or to transcend these divisions and to try to remedy the betrayals, then they can have the hope for the nation in their hands. So, revolution, corruption, the role of middle classes, all is part of the major themes discussed by the novel, and you will find several details that explain how these themes are depicted in both novels when you read the slides. Again, remember that we have this image of division. Literature is about images, and the image of binary division, as if you have one egg and then the egg is divided into two, as if you have twins, like in The God of Small Things. You keep having symbols and images of division that will show us what can happen if we keep dividing the nation. We have already had several divisions in the recent history of the Indian nation, but if this keeps going on, then the disaster or the result will be disastrous and catastrophic. Finally, the conclusion reached by the paper discussing the two novels is that the two novels, in their representations of versions of the national narratives that highlight betrayals, divisions, and the inevitability of revolution, both novels God of Small Things and Lives of Others are two outstanding examples of excellence within a tradition that appropriates English language and overworks it to make it bear the burden of Indian experience. The complex interaction of politics and literature in the texts of both novels can be traced back to the influence of the All India Progressive Writers Association, which always highlighted that politics and literature can be coupled together in Anglophone Indian novels. And also, we have the influence of the subaltern studies of Indian historiographers. We mentioned this group before, and their influence is quite apparent when we read the two novels that we are discussing. It is also the two novels are part of the nation's Roman initiated, or the narrative of the nation. Of course, nation's Roman here means narrative of the nation, or a national allegory, if you like. Again, a term that we have used several times before. And this nation Roman stream was initiated by Rushdie's Midnight's Children, again a novel that we have discussed previously. The fates of the two families in Arundhati Roy's and Neel Mukherjee's novels, the fates of the families are closely intertwined and closely related to documented national events, yet ultimately, after we have mentioned all this about the historical and political significance of the two novels, it is always the aesthetic value of the two novels that dominates their historical political content, and it is this aesthetic value that guarantees the novels an outstanding place in world literature, not just in the Indian literature. Here you have a list of the works cited that have been consulted in the writing of this academic paper. And with this, we reach the final part of our lecture. Thanks a lot and good luck.